Shana Tova. Shana Tova. Beautiful. Gemar Chatima Tova. Happy New Year, and may you all be written in the book of goodness. For those of you who are able, I want to wish you an easy fast. And for those of you who are not able to fast, I hope you are able to find profound meaning in this day. I want to invite you to turn to page 204. And as you're doing that, you might be thinking, Rabbi, the page numbers are supposed to go up as the service goes along. But I want to let you in on a little machloket, a little rabbinic argument that happens that you may have seen play out on this very bima in just about every service. Some rabbis in this prayer say certain words, and other rabbis in this prayer say other words. And now you are going to take part in that dialogue, in that discussion. The prayer on this page is called the Giverot, and it speaks about God's might. Now, we're not talking about the kind of might that would get God up the warped wall on American Ninja Warrior. But instead, this prayer talks about God's might and power when it comes to confronting life's biggest mystery, with the Giverot asking, is there nothing beyond God's ability, even on the subject of life and death? So take a look at the second line of the Hebrew, where it says, Mechaye Hakol / Meitim ata. Notice the slash. That means that you have a choice. The words leading up to this phrase say, you are forever mighty, Adonai. And this line can mean you give life to all, or you revive the dead. And while there are plenty of biblical and rabbinic references to resurrection, none of them can truly point to a belief in a literal resurrection, or as one of my classmates referred to it as zombie Judaism. So let's look at these words as we often do in Jewish prayer, Mechaye Hakol and Mechaye Meitim, as metaphors. In Orthodox and conservative prayer books, your only provided option is Mechaye Meitim. You revive the dead. Rabbi Cantor Bernstein taught a few years ago in her Yizkor sermon, I have clung to these words as a profound source of hope that I will be united again with those who departed this life before me. And every time we recite Kaddish, our memorial prayer, we bring our loved ones back to remember, to talk to seek forgiveness, or to forgive. Rabbi Rachel Adler teaches, maybe we're saying Mechaye Meitim because something in us is partially dead or dormant inside, and something in prayer has awakened it. Perhaps this prayer is a prayer of gratitude for bringing a piece of our neshama, a piece of our soul, back to life. Or put another way, as Rabbi Emma Gottlieb beautifully articulates, thinking of resurrection as a metaphor for other manifestations of rebirth, revival, and perhaps even healing, is a model for prayer that has potential for profound meaning. Now, the Reform movement has always struggled with this idea from its inception, and especially with regards to our philosophical focus on life. So in the mid-20th century, Reformed Jewish prayer books replaced Mechaye Meitim with Mechaye Hakol. You give life to all. Rabbi Gottlieb again notes this shift was part of a larger trend in Reform prayer away from any mention of an afterlife and focus on God as being praised as the force that sustains all life. So we can also see Mechaye Hakol also as a blessing of gratitude to God for the life around us, as if to say, wow, God, you are so mighty that you created all this amazing life. Marcia Falk argues that to celebrate life is to acknowledge that all death leads to life again. From peelings to mulch to new potatoes. Of course, I had to include a food reference on Yom Kippur. The world is ever renewing and ever renewed. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to discuss your thoughts on Mechaye Hakol and Mechaye Meitim. And just to review, I want you to keep these 5 values in mind as you discuss. 1, Shema. Listen to each other and make sure you really understand what your friends and family have to say. 2, Derech Eretz. Keep common decency in your discussions. Just because someone believes something different than you doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means they think differently. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself and give others the same respect that you deserve. 4, Kol Yisrael arevim zeh bezeh. We are all responsible for each other. And in this case, it means creating a safe space for a lot of different opinions and ways to pray. 5, Kihila Kedosha. Remember that we are having these conversations so that we can create a holy community, even one where the rabbis regularly, publicly, and proudly disagree with each other. So turn to your neighbors and use these questions as a guide. What do you think each option says? What's an example from this past year where you've wanted to pray one or the other? And which will you say today? Because in a few moments, after you have your conversations, we're going to come back together and we're going to pray Giverot together and create a beautiful sound of multiplicity and diverse opinions in prayer. So turn to your neighbors. We'll give you a few minutes, and good luck in your conversations. These conversations are amazing. Let's start wrapping them up. Get to the last question. Which one will you say today? Lock in your answer. But the difference is that this doesn't have to be your final answer. So just by a show of hands, before today, raise your hand if you usually, we'll say usually because it's okay if you switch sometimes. Raise your hand if you usually say Mechaye Hakol. Raise your hand if you usually say Mechaye Meitim. Oh, cool. I love this Reform community. Amazing. And raise your hand if you're going to say, raise your hand if you learned something from your neighbor about why you might want to say the other thing, or why you strengthened your opinion a little bit. Raise your hand if you learned something from this discussion. Oh, fantastic. This is a teacher's dream. Okay, wonderful. So just out of curiosity, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand for which you're going to say today, Mechaye Hakol or Mechaye Meitim. what we're going to do is I'm going to invite you to turn to page 204 if you aren't already there. And please rise. And we're together going to pray the Giverot. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata, rav lehoshia, morid hatal. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אל הרחמים זוכר יצוריו, לחיים, לחיים, לחיים ברחמים, ונאמנת להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. May you each be blessed with continued thought. May you be blessed with complex and meaningful dialogue. And may each of us find life, bring back something of us back to life. And may we all have a Shana Tova. And may we all be written in the book of good deeds. Shana Tova. You may be seated.